Here she is. Ralph hugged his son to him and bent slightly so that the boy could see the baby's face. Aubrey looked, and looked also at his father. He sighed. He saw at once how it was. He felt, and not for the first time in his young life, that he was old. Not just old by comparison with the baby, but older even than Ralph. It had always been Aubrey's impression that when the so-called qualities of youth were being handed out, gaiety, enthusiasm, insouciance, and the like, his share had been given to his father. And now, gazing at the female infant who lay in Ralph's arms, he experienced a kind of weary but not unexpected disappointment. It was, as he had feared, another one of them. Ralph squeezed his shoulders affectionately. "What do you think, old chap?" "She's not very pretty." "Nonsense." The nurse rolled her eyes and pursed her lips. "She's a beautiful little girl." Ralph did not look at the nurse. Instead, he said to Aubrey, "Quite right. She looks like a bit of scrunched-up red paper at the moment. That's the thing about babies. But she'll blossom and spread, you'll see, and all those funny wrinkles will smooth out." "I see." "And now you ought to run along back to bed. It's cold and you should be asleep. You can see your sister again in the morning." "All right." Aubrey turned and began to trail back along the passage. Then something occurred to him. "Is Mother all right?" Yes, your mother is quite all right, but very, very tired. I'm just about to go in and see her. Shall I give her your love?" Aubrey nodded. He would like to have seen his mother himself, but the air was heavy with grown-up secrets. He sighed again and went back to his room. Ralph addressed his daughter once more. "Let's go and see your mother, shall we?" He headed for the bedroom door, but the nurse, a large, strapping woman, barred his way discreetly but solidly. "Mrs. Tennant had a bad time, sir." "I am aware of that. That is why I wish to see her now." "I really think it would be better to leave her be for the moment, sir," said the nurse. "Madam," said Ralph, his smile taking on a metallic brightness which, had the nurse been one of his regular employees, would have quelled her utterly. "I intend to visit my wife." "She's very low, sir." The nurse had no experience of Ralph to draw on, and spoke as she saw fit. "I am sure she is. And as I believe the estate of matrimony to have something to do with having and holding in sickness and in health, I will now go to her side if I have to shift you bodily to do it." The nurse had never in her life before been spoken to in this manner by a gentleman of Mr. Tennant's class and position, and the shock of the moment caused her to drop both her jaw and her guard, so that Ralph was able to stalk past and into his wife's bedroom without further confrontation. Venetia's immediate thought, in the few seconds after her daughter had burst into the world, was, "I shall never have another." "I shall never have another," she said, with such emphasis that the nurse, midwife, and doctor were forced to transfer their attentions from the lower part of their patient's anatomy to the upper, which they had all forgotten about in the last few hours. "You mustn't say that, my dear," riposted Dr. Egerton lamely, although in fact he had no desire to officiate at another lying-in such as this. When Ralph had finally been ushered from the room at the last possible moment, and under strong protest, Venetia had closed her eyes and clenched her teeth, and tried to keep the image of his face in her mind's eye. She remembered someone saying nervously, "The shoulders are stuck fast." It was just about the time she thought her whole body was tearing apart, and even then it had struck her as ludicrous that these people should be commenting on something she could not even see, and yet that all this pain and strife amounted to no more than that.